When you're making a piece of art, what is the one thing that you really hope does not happen? Never want your painting or your drawing to turn out ugly, right? That's pretty much the whole point of making art, isn't it? To make something beautiful. And yet, this month in Healing Heart, that's exactly what we did. We tried to make the ugliest painting that we possibly could. Find out why we painted the ugliest thing we possibly could, how it actually had a lot of wisdom for those of us in this class, learn a little bit about art therapy, and find out why you actually might want to try this exercise too. I'm Michelle Baker. I have a master's in art therapy and I own Embodied Art Studio. I've been doing art therapy and making art with people for almost a decade now, and I've created a signature process that I call reflective painting. And I do this in a group every month called Healing Heart. And that's where this particular art journey is going to come from today. For me, this painting topic of creating ugly has also brought up some worry for me, some insecurity as the leader of the group. I really feel more than ever that I'm making them do something that they might not want to do and might not see any value in. Every other month, I've felt really confident planting my flag in the knowing that they are going to receive wisdom and guidance through their art. And this month I'm like, oh, I don't know if anything good will come out of this, which I think is kind of the point of creating ugly. It's like, well, is there anything good that comes from ugly? And the answer is yes, absolutely. What kind of leader would I be if I shied away from things that were ugly or scary? I was pretty sure that when I did this topic that everyone in Healing Heart should paint the ugliest thing possible, I was sure that they were all going to turn out the same because in my mind, ugly is only one thing. It's just this yucky color and there's really nothing there and there's nothing to work with. But that's not what happened at all in the class. The range of the ugly paintings really surprised me. And one of the things that we talked about together as a group was that ugly is really in the eye of the beholder. And the thing that I'm learning right now in the middle of the group about this is that it tells me a lot about myself. What I think is ugly is the opposite of what I value. And that's a really cool insight. It's actually the essence of the shadow in psychology. Your shadow self is the part of you that you don't want to own. You push it away, and actually we tend to see it in other people is the way that the shadow tends to come up, but it's parts of ourselves that we don't want to own. The reason that we don't want to own them is because they're ugly. And part of the work in psychology and therapy is to see the shadow, first of all, and bring it back in and really integrate it into ourselves for a more fulfilling life, for wholeness. So it seems ironic to look to the ugly, to the thing that we disgust about ourselves or something that we find disgusting in other people, and actually have treasure in that for our own personal growth and development. And yet that's exactly how it happens. However, seeing it in real life, like looking at it, I really do feel that, that repel, push away, no desire to go any further. So it's really funny that I chose to do this topic with Healing Heart because I didn't have to do it. But what kind of leader would I be if I shied away from things that were ugly or scary? If this is resonating with you right now, type "I feel you" in the comments below. It really helps to know that we're not alone in this crazy journey of growth and discovery, right? So what's it like looking at my ugly painting? Ugh, ugh, I just feel almost nothing in but it's in the yuck department. It's like, I don't want to play with you. I don't want to engage with you. You don't inspire me at all. And that is what I learned about what ugly is to me. It has a lot to do with not being inspiring. There's like nothing for me to work with and co create with, which doesn't surprise me actually, because that's my favorite thing. I love to get inspired and bounce off of other people and create things together. And this painting is like, I got nothing for you. One of the first things people noticed when we reflected after the first painting session was freedom. A number of people noted that they felt a lot of freedom, myself included, that there was no expectation, right? I wasn't instantly climbing towards some mountain of achievement. It was like, I know I can do this, and the hardest part is letting it be ugly, just letting it be ugly. Another idea that came through in our discussion about our ugly paintings was shame. Ugliness feels synonymous with shame, the yucky parts that we just don't want to feel, we don't want to acknowledge. That's part of what this painting evoked. And I think in our culture, we are so apt to turn away from that, from shame, from feeling shame, from ugliness, that it's a really interesting process to like consciously turn towards it. Another ugly idea was fakeness. The way that we can be so fake in our presentation of ourselves, the way that we act in public, or the fakeness of our culture, to simplify things and take a complex idea like love and make it into hearts and rainbows. Or we can take a really deep practice like yoga and make it into Lululemon and nice butts. One of the directions that a participant in Healing Heart took the ugly painting that was not even in my realm of thinking was into the relational realm. And she painted two profiles of people screaming at each other and really speaking to the rage and the hatred and the way that we can treat each other in relationships that is just so ugly. A number of people really felt that helpless, hopeless, I can't do anything. And that definitely is an ugly feeling. And for me, it would be an ugly life, an ugly universe, if the truth was I had no control, that there was no meaning and purpose, and I'm just hopelessly, helplessly bound to whatever my circumstances are. Ugh, that's definitely not something that I want to look at or bring into my life. In fact, that's how one of the feelings that I have about my ugly painting is hopeless. Like, what am I ever going to do with this? It's completely ruined. There's nothing there to work with, right? And that's not a feeling I like to have for any person. I always want to believe that things can get better for them, that they can heal and grow. And then my painting looks at me and I'm like, I can't help you at all, right? So it's really the flip side of the way that I like to look at things. And yet it's also true that sometimes I do feel hopeless and helpless. And so it doesn't serve me to pretend like that's not there and to act like I always just feel empowered and that life is going to be okay. That's not the truth of mine or anybody's existence. So why did we look ugly straight in the face with this month's painting topic? Because it has helped bring in the shadow, right? The truth of life is that we are both. We are the light and the dark. We are beautiful and we are ugly. It's true about myself as a person and you. And the more that we can see that and own it and accept it, the happier and the more fulfilling our life will become. It's like if you expected every day to be blissful and that the only emotion you should feel is happy, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But when you can really acknowledge the fact that you're going to have ups and downs, there's going to be days that feel like crap and days that feel amazing, you're actually setting yourself up for a realistic and holistic view of life. And that leads to empowerment and ease. And it's just a really great growing opportunity. And that's what we want for you in this video, is for you to grow along with us through an art process. So now I'm going to challenge you to try it yourself. This is my free guide to you to help lead you through the steps that we used in Healing Heart. Not because you're going to be unable to create an ugly painting, but to offer the meaning behind it and give you the reflection question so that you can dig into the deeper significance that the ugly and the shadow have for you. The link for this guide is in the description below. Other thing that I would love is for you to subscribe to our channel, because we're only halfway through the Healing Heart this month. So what you don't know is that we're actually going to transform our ugly paintings into something else. We're asking the question, what grows from the darkness? Just like spring right now, the seeds are all in the dirt, they're in the muck, and they're about to burst forth with new life and new growth. And that's where we're going to take our paintings next. So you don't want to miss that, right? If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below and tell me your #1 takeaway. Or even better, if you do an ugly painting or a drawing, can you share it with us? Please, please, please. We'd love to see it.